What's happening, film nerds? David the Film Jerk here. What's going on? Yeah, I'm sitting on my couch today. As you can see, my ugly-ass couch, but really comfy. And of course, we got Soupies right there in the background. And I can get both posters. And then the one even further up in the shot. But one of the reasons why is because I had my work, my actual work, my daytime purgatory, as I call it. I had that stuff on my desk, and I took it back today, and I just didn't put, I don't know, I just felt like doing work like this. I was sitting on the ground and just kind of doing work. It was kind of comfy. It was kind of cozy. So, anyways, guys, appreciate you clicking in. What are we going to talk about? What am I going to talk about this video? Not much. I was just going to talk about what Amy Adams said about Batman vs. Superman, Zack Snyder, and Justice League. Because, you know, I mean, what else is there to talk about, right? That's all I want to talk about is Justice League and all that shit. But I just wanted to talk about what she said to Variety. She was on like the Playback podcast. And, yeah, she talked about how she felt bad for Zack Snyder, which I did too, honestly, especially after the Ultimate Cut came out, and then people were apologizing, and then he was probably like, you know, I mean, as he probably fought for that 3-hour cut. That's for damn sure. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't have, because I mean, look at Watchmen. I mean, and then look at that Ultimate Cut. I mean, the guy. I mean, it's very hard to tell a very complex story in 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I mean, you really. I mean, honestly, I want to. And like I said before too, I said Batman vs. Superman spread out over a 12-episode Netflix series. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Come on. I mean, seriously. I love it now. I watched it again this past weekend, and it's fantastic. I watched it with the lady, and she hadn't seen the Ultimate Cut. She only saw the theatrical cut, and she loved it. She loved it even more too. Like, it just flowed better, and I kept on going. Look, see, you hear that? Yeah, see that one? Certain things that were just like removed. And even she was like, "What the fuck?" So, yeah, and she talks about how she felt bad for him, and then she talks about, like, the tone, and then she talks about Justice League as well, and how it's, like, a completely different film, like a totally different film. It's a totally different film. That's what she said. And I'm wondering, is that a good thing or is it a bad thing, honestly? I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. And I've kind of talked about it before. I mean, I liked the fact that, I mean, what I liked about Man of Steel, it was a different kind of Superman. It was a darker Superman. It was a more just hardcore Superman. It wasn't the normal Boy Scout that says, you know, that stands there and just like, remember, kids, flying is still the safest way to travel. Whoosh, you know, saving kitty cats and old ladies and lifting up cars above his head and shit like that. We've seen that many times. We've seen that over and over again. And just to have like I don't know, like one of the main scenes in Man of Steel that just fucking gives me goosebumps every time I see it is, you know, when he's fighting in Smallville in the streets, fighting Fiora and the other dude. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. And they're holding down his head, and all of a sudden he just chimes into those laser eyes and just, you know, he's like, you know, and he just does that. I just love that. That was pure brilliance right there from Snyder and Goyer and everything. I was just man, I'll like rewind that scene. It's just like, that's like my favorite part of Man of Steel, when he just summons that whole fight scene is fucking badass. But I like that. I mean, and I like what Kevin Smith has said about this Superman too. It's not your daddy's Superman. It's not. And I think some people are just having trouble letting that go. They want the red undies back. They want Christopher Reeves back. I mean, Christopher Reeves will always be the Superman, yes. But, you know, Cavill, it's just, he's up there, man. He really is. But I'm just wondering, like, okay, yeah, we saw with that footage that, yes, the tone seems a little lighter. It does seem lighter, and it's going to have some humor in it, obviously, with Flash and everything. But is it, I mean, with her saying it's a different film, is that going to just like totally just have it where Warner Brothers and DC just kind of give in, just throw in the towel and it's like, all right, we'll do it the Marvel way? Or is it still going to have that Snyder feel and that complexity that his stories tend to have? Like, and I've said this many times too, is he deals with stories that have a lot of layers. You know, you look at Watchmen, there's a lot of layers. I mean, because there's so many characters that you have to cover, and it flashes back, it goes back and forth. It's got a lot of layers. Sucker Punch, the movie he personally wrote himself. A lot of people didn't like that movie. I actually kind of dug it. I mean, there was some parts in there, but it was, for the most part, it had a lot of layers. The story had like at least 3 layers that it goes down. It's pretty weird. And Batman vs Superman is no different. And that's why, like, I even admitted on my Twitter that I'm like, this movie is better than Civil War. The Ultimate Cut. Especially watching the Ultimate Cut. I think it's better than Civil War. And obviously everybody can be, oh, you're biased. You're a Batman fan. Yes, that is true. I lean more DC because I grew up more with DC Comics. And I'll admit that, yes. But I did admit it when, after the theatrical cut of Batman vs Superman came out, and after Civil War came out, I was the first to admit that Civil War was better. But after watching the Ultimate Cut about a dozen more times, it's just everything. It's such the anti-Civil War because it's not happy-go-lucky. It takes a lot of place at night. It's raining. It's just the characters are really complex. I actually, like, Lex Luthor does not bother me anymore. I actually really like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex. It's just, I mean, and a lot of people, it's nothing like the comic books. I'm like, well, read Birthright and you might see a little something. And that's the thing, is like people they just want the same thing that they've always had. And it's funny too, because you can't win with that, because Superman Returns was the same thing. It was the Christopher Reeve Superman. It was the Richard Donner Supermans. And it didn't work. So you can't win, you know, and I'm glad that Snyder decided just to do something completely different, you know. And I don't know. And so I'm just like, so it kind of worries me in a way, but I still think it's, you know, after seeing that footage especially, it's still going to have the Snyder visual, that's for damn sure. And it's still going to have its grit to it. I think Aquaman especially is going to still have that grit. Aquaman and Batman are still going to keep that grit that I really liked about Batman vs. Superman. So, I don't know, just let me know your thoughts about it. I was going to do a video about what she said about everything, and then I was like, nah, I'll just talk about it with a vlog. So, let me know your thoughts, guys. What do you think? Do you think that her saying it's a different film, or do you think she's just saying that just to, like, because she was told to, you know, so then they get more butts in the seats? Or do you think, like, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be that, it's going to be lighter? You know what's funny, though, is, like, Chris Terrio, the writer of these movies, he said before Batman vs. Superman came out that Justice League will be lighter. And it's almost like the bridge, like Batman vs. Superman's the bridge. It's the Empire Strikes Back of this story, of these first 3 movies. Well, I mean, without counting Suicide Squad, I'm talking about this line of movies. It is like the Empire Strikes Back. It's the darker child. He said that before it came out, before all this shit, before all the rumors and all the backlashing and shit like that. So that's why I'm just going, all right, let's not really push this narrative of, oh, it's going to be more like a Marvel popcorn flick. Let's not do that. And I hope it's not. And I don't think it will be, especially Chris Terrio. He's a great writer. So hopefully it's not going to just take the Marvel route. And hopefully it's going to be a lighter, but it's still going to have that grit and that complexity of the other 2 movies. Let's hope. Anyways, let me know your thoughts, guys. I'll talk to you